Rambam. We continue. We actually conclude today the laws of Deus, which are just the bottom line beliefs and values. Deus is like beliefs and values, if you will. A lot, yeah. Beliefs and values. So we're in chapter 6. So it is natural for a man's character, right? It's character development specifically that we're dealing with here. All right. So, yeah, let him please be done or Liba. So it's natural for a man's character and actions to be influenced by his friends and associates, and for him to follow the local norm of behavior. Huh. Right? We're just speaking about Ve'aftarecha kamecha, right? Therefore, he should associate with the righteous and constantly be in the company of the wise, so as to learn from their deeds. Conversely, he should keep away from the wicked, who walk in darkness, so as not to learn from their deeds. This is implied from King Solomon in his statement, and he who walks with the wise will become wise, while one who associates with fools will suffer. Similarly, it states, happy is the man who does not follow the advice of the wicked. Very first verse in Psalms. A person who lives in a place where the norms of behavior are evil and the inhabitants do not follow the straight path should move to a place where people are righteous or follow the ways of the good, right? Or, of course, become a shliach of the Rebbe and change those people. If all the places for which he is familiar and of which he hears reports follow improper paths, as in our times, well, it's like over 850 years ago. Or he is unable to move to a place where the patterns of behavior are proper because of the presence of bands of raiding troops. Or for health reasons, he should remain alone in seclusion, as it says, and let him sit alone and be silent. Imagine as bad things were then, how much they are now, even worse, right? So as it says in Eicha, let him sit alone and be silent. If they are wicked and sinful, do not allow him to reside there unless he mingle with them and follow their evil behavior. He should go out to caves, thickets, deserts, rather than follow the path of the sinners. As it says, he who will give me a lodging place for wayfarers in the desert. Psh. Wow. Number 2, it is God's commandment to cleave unto the wise and to their disciples in order to learn from their deeds, right? To the wise, to the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, right? And you will cling to him. Our sages question the nature of the command, for is it possible for a man to cling to the divine presence? They resolve the difficulty in explaining the commandment to me, cleave unto the wise and their disciples. And that way you cleave to God. Therefore, one should try to marry a daughter of a Torah sage and marry his daughter to a Torah sage. Eat and drink with sages. Do business on behalf of the sages. Associate with them in all possible ways, as it states, to cling to him, to God. Some of our sages have directed us, saying, sit in the dust of their feet and drink in their words thirstily. All right, continuing. Each man is commanded to love each and every one of Israel as himself. Wow, we just learned this in Tanya, and he's bringing from the verse "V'ahavta kamecha," to love your fellow man as yourself. The exact translation means your friend as yourself. How could you love if you love yourself as a Jew, so you can be a Jew as you love as yourself. Jews love themselves as Jews, right? So therefore, one should speak in praises of others and show concern for their money, just as concern for his own money, and seek his own honor. Anyone who gains honor through the gradation of a colleague does not have a share in the world to come. Psh. Loving a convert who has come to nestle under the wings of the Shekhinah fulfills two positive commandments. One, for he is also included in the love of a fellow man, right? And whom we are commanded to love, and another because he is a convert, and the Torah says you shall love the converts. So it's two commandments you're fulfilling. Thus, God has commanded us concerning the love of a convert, just as He's commanded us concerning loving Himself, as it states, "And you shall love God your Lord, and the Holy One blessed be He." Himself loves converts, as it says, and He loves converts in the verse in Deuteronomy. Whoever hates a fellow Jew in his heart transgresses the Torah prohibition. Do not hate your brother in your heart. One is not liable for lashes for violating this prohibition because no deed is involved. The commandment scripture warns us only against hating in our hearts. However, a person who beats a colleague or insults him, although he's not permitted to do so, does not violate the prohibition, do not hate. Huh. So every person who beats a colleague insults him, although he is not permitted to do so. You're not allowed to do it, but you don't violate this. You shall not hate. When one person wrongs another, the latter should not remain silent and despise him, as it says concerning the wicked. And Avshalom did not speak to Amnon neither good nor bad, for Avshalom hated Amnon. Rather, he is commanded to make the matter known and ask him, "Why did you do this to me? Why did you wrong me regarding this matter?" You shall surely admonish your colleague. As again, your colleague, right? Talking about a colleague. And here they were scholars. If afterwards a person who committed the wrong asks his colleague to forgive him, he must do so. A person should not be cruel when forgiving, as implied by Abraham prayed to God. And when it came to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? If there's 50 righteous, it went to 45, 40, all the way down to 10, right? Um, is a mitzvah for a person who sees his fellow Jew has sinned or is following an improper path to attempt to correct his behavior and inform him that he's causing himself a loss by the evil deeds. So you should surely admonish your colleague. A person who rebukes a colleague, whether because of a wrong committed against him or because of a matter between his colleague and God, should rebuke him privately. He should speak to him patiently and gently, informing him that he is only making these statements for his colleague's own welfare, to allow him to merit the life of the world to come. If he accepts the rebuke, it is good. If not, one should rebuke him a second, third time. Indeed, one is obligated to rebuke a colleague who does wrong until the latter strikes him and tells him, "I will not listen." Consider So he will not listen. Whoever has the power of rebuking a sinner and fails to do so is considered responsible for the sin, for he had the opportunity to rebuke the sinner. Now, it doesn't say, I don't know if Rambam was going to say over here, but that's only if you know that he's going to listen. If he's not going to listen, then you don't rebuke. Well, at first, a person who admonishes a colleague should not speak to him harshly until he becomes embarrassed. As it says, you should not bear a sin because of him. This is what our sages said. Should you rebuke him to the point where his face changes color, the Torah states, you should not bear his sin because of him. From this we learn that it is forbidden for a person to embarrass a fellow Jew, how much more so it is forbidden to embarrass him in public. Even though a person who embarrasses a colleague is not liable for lashes on account of it, right? Nonetheless, it is a great sin. Our sages said a person who embarrasses a colleague in public does not have a share in the world to come. Therefore, a person should be careful not to embarrass a colleague, whether of greater or lesser stature, in public, and not to call him a name which embarrasses him, or to relate a matter that embarrasses in public, in which their name and embarrasses him, and relate the matter that brings him shame in his presence. When does the above apply? With regard to matters between one man and another. However, with regard to spiritual matters, if a transgressor does not repent after being admonished in private, he may be put to shame in public, and his sin may be publicized. He may be subject to abuse, scorn, and curses until he repents, as was practiced of the prophets of Israel. I don't know if I don't think that's practiced today, because we're talking about it back then was like people would, you know, knew enough to accept. Here, are you going to rebuke somebody who doesn't, you know? No, the situation is more like the Alter Rebbe wrote. You can only rebuke somebody if you know they're going to listen to you. If not, then you're doing a double sin, because now that person's going to is doing it intentionally. They might have been unintentional.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have no brought to his attention.
So you need to measure to know, is that person, if you're going to rebuke them, are they going to listen to you or not? Because if you know that they are not going to listen to you, right?
That's if you know that's the condition. If you know.
Right. If you're not certain, like certain people, you know that if you say something to them, they just justify everything they do, and they're not going to listen. So don't bring it to their attention, because all you're going to do is make them more aware of what they did wrong and do it purposefully. So you're making it worse, right? Hey, one of the mashpia, Rabbi Greenglass, Olav Shalom, was in the yeshiva here in Montreal. He was, the Rebbe's Kabbalist. The Rebbe once called, "Who is my Mekubal? Where is my Kabbalist?" Rebbe once said by Fabringen about him. Anyways, very special Jew. So you're not allowed to, when you're walking in the street, you shouldn't eat. I mean, if you have something in your mouth, it's one thing, but like, to sit and have a piece of pastry, let's say, or a sandwich, and you're walking the streets, right? Um, you're puzzled to be a witness. Can't be a witness, because that's right. Now, I don't know how that would fit today, because of, the modern day, what that means exactly. Once he saw a yeshiva student, and he was eating in the middle of the street, like, had well, I don't know, a sandwich or a pastry or whatever, and he's eating, walking on the sidewalk. He says, "Oh, oh." So the verse says, it says, Adam, that a person who is walking in the street and is eating, he's similar to um, to a dog. That's what dogs do. They'll eat in the street. That's what the Gemara says. The Talmud says it's similar to a dog. So he goes. Oh, someone who eats on the street is similar to a king. He says it like that, mistakenly, right? Purposefully. So he looks at him like it's a well-known statement. So, no, Daimala Kelev, it says. Oh no! So the student says back to him, "No, similar to a dog." He goes, "Yeah, yeah." So he rebuked him how that he should accept the rebuke himself, and he said it himself. Now you have to have a little wisdom. Chassidim, it says, and we had it in Hayom Yom recently. Actually, I think it was last week, as a matter of fact. Before you rebuke somebody, cut your nails. Make sure you have no agenda. Shmuel, make sure you have no agenda. Too often we have an agenda when we rebuke somebody, right? Sometimes the agenda could be that make me feel powerful. You know, I gave it to the guy. Well, look at the way he's acting. That's disgusting. The fact is you didn't cut your nails. You're going to go and get to him with your nails, huh? Don't rebuke. You have to be clean in your heart. You have to be clean in your heart. That's what it says actually before that. Don't have hate in your heart. Rebuke your fellow Jew. But you have to be clean in your heart. Huh?
When I say examine oneself.
Right. Are you coming with a pure intent? Okay. Okay, look at this. It is a pious behavior of a person who was wronged by a colleague would rather not admonish him or mention the matter at all because the person who wronged him was very boorish or because he was mentally or emotionally compromised, provided he forgives him totally without bearing any feelings of hate towards him. So if he in his heart works it out, pious people work it out themselves and they are forgiving. The Torah is concerned only with those who carry feelings of hate. If you have the hate, then you got to rebuke the person. But if you don't have the hate, right? You've heard this before, and I'm going to say it again. Every night when we say the Shema before going to sleep, yeah? Yeah, what do we say at the very beginning? Master of the universe, I hereby forgive anyone who's angered or vexed me or sinned against me, either physically or financially, against my honor or anything else that is mine, whether accidentally or intentionally, inadvertently or deliberately, by speech or by deed, this incarnation or in any other. Right? May no man be punished on my account. Da-da-da-da. Right? So Chassidim have a very big problem with this prayer. Chassidim.
Oh.
Oh, it's only at night. The guy vexed you in the morning and only at nighttime you're forgiving him. Took you that long? Not good. So the answer is because it says here, this incarnation, another incarnation. Because in another incarnation, you were misnagid, so you held on to it. You weren't Hasidic. You were, of another kind of belief. So you held on to it. And the Torah is speaking about when you hold on to it, that you have to let go. Therefore, you have to approach that person. But you don't need to approach the person if you worked it out yourself and you are forgiving, even without their asking for forgiveness. A person is obligated to show care for orphans and widows because their spirits are very low and their feelings are distressed. This applies even if they are wealthy. We are commanded to show this attention even to the king's widow and his orphans, as is implied. Do not mistreat any widow or orphan. He should not deal how should we deal with them? One should only speak to them gently and treat them with honor. One should not cause pain to any persons with overbearing work or aggravate their feelings with harsh words. And one should show them consideration for their financial interests for more than one's own. Anyone who vexes or angers them, or hurts their feelings, oppresses them, or causes them financial loss, transgresses the prohibition. Surely this applies to one who beats them and curses them, all the more so. Even though a person who violates this prohibition is not punished by lashes, the retribution one suffers for the violation is explicitly stated in the Torah. I will display my anger and slay you with a sword. I mean, spiritually or whatever, from heaven. There is a covenant between them, and he spoke and created the world. And wherever such individuals cry out because of they have been wrong, they will be answered. When they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry to these people. When does the above apply? When one causes them suffering from for one's own purposes. However, it is permitted for a teacher to cause them suffering while teaching them Torah or a craft, or in order to train them in proper behavior. Then you can make them suffer, right? Nevertheless, one should not treat them in the same manner as he treats others, but rather make the distinction with regard to them and treat them with gentility, great mercy and honor, as it says. For God will take up their cause. This applies to both those orphaned from their father and those orphaned from their mother. Until when they are considered orphans in this context of mitzvah, until they no longer need a mature individual to support, instruct, and care for them, and they are able to see to all of their own needs by themselves like other adults. Whoa, next. Chapter 7, any person who gossips about a colleague violates a prohibition. Do not go around gossiping among your people. Even though one violates this transgression, is not liable for lashes. It is severe sin. It can cause the death of many Jews. Whoa, therefore the warning, do not stand over your fellow's man's blood is placed next to the Torah, to it in the Torah. Now, there's gossiping and your fellow blood, because it's like you have killed him and many others. See what happened to the Doeg and the Edomite. Who was a gossiper? Okay. Psh, amazing. Amazing, amazing. All right, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.